Why are you guys so anti-dictators? Imagine if America was a dictatorship.
When Sacha Baron Cohen suggested something stupid to Americans and they decided to try it.
You could let 1% of the people have all the nation's wealth.
2025. Top 1% of the people held approximately 30% to 40% of the United States' total net worth.
You could help your rich friends get richer by cutting their taxes.
President Trump kicked off his holiday weekend at Mar-a-Lago Friday night at a dinner where he told friends, "You all just got a lot richer," referencing the tax overhaul he signed into law hours earlier.
You got to get out and vote, but you got to help them financially because you're all people that have a lot of money. I know 20 of you and you're rich as hell. So anything you were going to do, it quadruple it. It doesn't mean it's just, we're going to give you tax cuts. We're going to pay off our debt.
So they are the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country. I will never let them be taken away from you, and with your vote in this election, we will cut your taxes even further.
Donald Trump's net worth more than doubling.
This is Charles Schwab. It's not just a company, it's actually an individual. And he made $2.5 billion today, and he made $900 million. That's not bad.
The Vice President votes in the affirmative. The bill as amended is passed.
And bailing them out when they gamble and lose.
Reached a $10 million settlement with Donald Trump.
President Trump has moved to pardon many who were considered to be loyal to him, from local Republican officials convicted of fraud to rioters at the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol.
Your parents are going to be free and clean, and I hope we can do it by tomorrow.
The stars of the cable show Chris Lee Knows Best were convicted of tax evasion and bank fraud in 2022. The Chris Lees were among a blitz of pardons and commutations this week, including former New York Republican Congressman Michael Grimm, convicted of tax fraud, and the notorious Chicago gang leader Larry Hoover.
The Trump administration pardoned Paul Walsack after his mother, Elizabeth Fago, attended a $1 million per plate fundraising dinner for the president's super PAC. 3 weeks after the dinner, the president signed the pardon, getting Walsack out of an 18-month prison sentence and a $4 million restitution payment.
President Trump is pardoning a former Virginia sheriff convicted of taking $75,000 in bribes.
And when asked if he would consider pardoning Sean Diddy Combs if he's convicted in the ongoing sex trafficking trial, Trump did not rule it out.
You could ignore the needs of the poor for healthcare and education.
The Trump administration has targeted hundreds of medical research grants funded through the National Institutes of Health.
It also cuts roughly $1 trillion from healthcare programs like Medicaid.
To fill up military and immigration coffers, $163 billion in funding is being reallocated from other federal departments. Education, housing, social services, health, aid, and climate programs are all set to be affected. This means public programs like low-cost housing, medical care, schools, medical research, and even food programs for low-income families are facing cutbacks. The Education Department is the biggest victim of the new budget. A staggering $12 billion has been redirected from its annual allocation. Programs like Head Start, which provides early childhood education, health, and nutrition to children in low-income U.S. communities, is already under pressure. Trump issued Executive Order 14188, which compels universities to monitor and report anti-Semitic incidents. Activist groups say the government is using safety as a pretext to silence dissent, and some universities are pushing back. Harvard, for one, refused to change how it disciplines students or dismantle its diversity programs. In response, Trump froze $2.2 billion in grants and pulled $60 million in research funding. Trump's 2026 budget isn't just redistributing money, it's redistributing power toward military buildup, toward law enforcement, and away from education, research, and public programs. The message is clear.
Your media would appear free, but would secretly be controlled by one person and his family.
In February 2025, President Trump indefinitely banned Associated Press reporters from pooled press events in the Oval Office on aboard Air Force One because they continued to use the term Gulf of Mexico instead of Trump's preferred term, Gulf of America.
You could wiretap phones.
Miles Taylor, who served as the Department of Homeland Security's chief of staff under Mr. Trump, has claimed in his new book Blowback that Trump wanted to tap phones of White House aides.
You could torture foreign prisoners.
Paul Burke says his daughter's current conditions at the Northwest Detention Center are deeply concerning, and she's been there for nearly 2 weeks.
A German tourist says she was denied entry at the San Diego border, then taken into custody by ICE to be deported.
She spoke to me from the detention center where she's now been for over a month. The 29-year-old says she spent over a week in solitary confinement.
Mugu, we've been speaking to immigration lawyers and immigrants who have been detained at the downtown facilities in LA. They continue to describe the conditions as inhumane, given that there's limited access to food, water, extreme temperatures. There are no beds, no blankets.
You could have rigged elections.
And he was very effective. And he knows those computers better than anybody, all those computers, those vote-counting computers. And we ended up winning Pennsylvania like in a landslide, so it was pretty good. It was pretty good. So thank you to Elon. But then they rigged the election, and now we won, so I'm going to be your president.
You could lie about why you go to war.
Donald Trump has dragged the U.S. into another war based on exaggerations and manipulated intelligence. The Israel-Iran conflict, which began on June 13th when Israel launched a surprise attack killing some of Iran's top military officials and nuclear scientists, and bombing dozens of targets across the country. U.S. intelligence officials, along with the UN's nuclear watchdog and independent experts, say that while Iran has dramatically increased its supply of uranium enriched to nearly weapons grade, there is no evidence it has taken steps to produce a nuclear weapon. Meanwhile, based on estimates from various intelligence agencies and independent research institutes, Israel is widely believed to have a nuclear arsenal. Most estimates put their current nuclear stockpile at approximately 90 warheads. Some sources suggest that Israel also has enough fissile material to produce a larger number, potentially up to 200 or even 300 nuclear weapons.
You could fill your prisons with one particular racial group, and no one would complain.
Private companies are also helping to house a surge of immigrants arrested by the Trump administration. But a Scripps News investigation found jails run by for-profit companies have a long history of problems, from overcrowding to understaffing.
Its immigration detention centers are at capacity.
U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement's detention systems are full. So much so that the agency is releasing some migrant detainees.
You could use the media to scare the people into supporting policies that are against their interests.
I mean, do people think tariffs will impact prices?
Well, that is the key question, because what we've seen, I'll pick out just cars in particular, right? The administration has argued that this will be beneficial in the long term. So you look at right away, people actually do think that in the short term, tariffs will increase prices, right? That's a big 3/4. But even when you ask about the long term, there's still a sizable number that think that it'll increase prices in the long term, too. Do people think that the president's policies are making them better off? And those numbers have actually diminished since their expectations are compared to their expectations before he took office.
I know this is hard for you Americans to imagine, but please try.